Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kelly Brewer Show. Really digging doing this. I'm enjoying the heck out of it, meeting people and talking to them today. I have a special guest, Jimmy Lane Mooney. Y'all probably know him as the Sheriff of Orange County. So, Jimmy, Mr. Lane, I appreciate you coming.
Well, thanks for asking me, Kelly. I appreciate it.
All right. You look nice today.
Well, thank you. I want to look good for your show.
And for the folks watching. So,
Yes, sir.
So as you know, the question is, and I asked the question of every person, what would you tell your 18-year-old self? What have you learned that we can learn from? How can we pass some good information on to the next generation so they don't make the same mistakes that we did, So, it's going deep, it's digging deep. I don't know if you want to go that deep, but I mean, you've been through it. I've watched you for many years go, and you rose to the top, You fought and you fight, and you're a fighter, and, but you're a very kind person.
Thank you.
That's what I find. Very level, kind, even-handed person. So you've obviously learned a few things on the journey. How do you start such a tale?
Well, it does go way back. I'm 59 years old, and you go back to my younger days when I was 18 years old. I was kind of a rough cuss, kind of rough and rowdy, back in the day. And, I came from a great family, but I made things tough on myself. And but my family was always there to support me. And, when I finally tried not to be a knucklehead, and I had a vision.
How old were you when you decided that you were a knucklehead and had to evolve?
I was about 18.
18.
So I was kind of fortunate at that time. I saw where I was headed in life, and it was not a good road that I was on. And, man, thank God, and thank my family for staying on top of me. But I made it hard on myself and dug myself a really good hole.
Wow.
And but I worked my way up out of it. It was hard for me to become a police officer because of some of the things that I've done at the time. And my goal was to be a police officer here in my community and make a difference in our community. And I think I did that, on a small scale. But if I had something to say to the young people out there, it would be this, Kelly. Have a dream. Have a dream. Dreams are free. Nobody can take it away from you. Have a dream. Work your ass off towards that dream every day. Get up and work your way to that dream. Have a vision. Sit down and make a plan and work towards that. And don't listen to the naysayers.
That's a big one.
Yes, sir.
That's a big one.
Because everybody and their brother,
they're so
some
smart.
family,
They're
yes.
smarter than you, and they know.
Yeah.
They don't know.
That's right. And only you can decide on when you're going to stop
That's right.
your dream.
That's
and
right.
don't ever stop your
That's
dream.
right.
Again, they're free. Nobody can take it from you. And, hey, it's yours to obtain, and it's only you that can stop yourself from obtaining that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. It was a hard lesson to learn.
Yeah.
And it took me, well, till today.
Till today. Still
really,
learning.
And I'm still learning. I'm still trying to do better in life, So you change your dreams up sometimes. You might obtain your dream or reach your goal. Well, when you do that, it's time to set another goal, set another dream, have another vision.
There it is. So you have the Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu
Yes, sir.
thing over there on 105. I mean, you have to motivate people. I mean, that's almost one of your jobs, is to motivate people to be better, to defend themselves, to evolve, to improve. So I bet you've given that speech. You did it so well. You've given that speech before. You've stood and you've looked in the faces and you've had to tell them. What do you see? Is the younger generation, are they listening?
Some do. It depends on their background, where they come from. It's hard to get people in there. They want to learn how to fight, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's so much more to it than just fighting.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you, I told you I was a rough character back in the day, but I found martial arts. And when I found martial arts at 18
How old
years
were you?
old,
18?
Yeah, I was 18. And I started training with this guy named Marv Conway. He's a staple in the community, has since passed. But he really instilled some things into me that I carry with me today. And I try to teach the people that are coming up in our jiu-jitsu gym that it's not just about fighting. It's not just about fighting. It's about life. You can use it. You can use what you learn on the mat in life.
Everywhere else. Yeah, learn one thing, and you're able then to apply it to all things.
Sure. And the good thing about the martial arts, it will teach you confidence. It'll teach you to be humble.
Yeah.
Especially when you got a 13-year-old girl tapping you out, and they're in there.
Are you serious?
I am dead serious.
Wow.
And but anyway, yeah, it's tough. So, yeah, but yeah, we have a good time though.
Yeah. Well, y'all been there a long time, so you must be doing something right.
Well, we started many years ago.
Yeah.
Like I say, I started in Taekwondo with Marv Conway. Found a guy over in Silsbee, Texas that was, I was actually training with a guy named Paul Vunak. You ever heard of him? He's under Dan Inosanto, under Bruce Lee.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Dan
Okay.
Inosanto was. So I was training with Paul Vunak in Austin, and I run across a guy from El Campo, Texas. And so I started training with him on the weekends, going to El Campo, training in jiu-jitsu. And so as I was going over there, he said, man, why are you spending your money coming over here to train with me? He said, you got a guy right there in Silsbee, Texas.
Okay.
And turned out it was Pat Hawk Hardy, prosecutor out of Jasper County. And he was Hoist Gracie's first black belt ever. And so he brought jiu-jitsu to Southeast Texas. And so that's how we got hooked up with him, and that's how our career in jiu-jitsu got started.
Really?
Yeah.
Just so you went to somebody who knew more than you, and you were able to just sit and learn, listen, close your mouth, open your ears. Right. Well, that just takes some insight. That takes discipline. That takes. So, yeah, you must have had a pretty good paradigm shift around 18.
I did.
I wonder what happened. I don't know if I should ask. Was it dramatic?
Oh, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, it was dramatic.
It's none of my business.
Yeah,
really.
it is. It was very dramatic because, I come up, made things hard on myself.
Yeah.
I was a rough character, man. I mean, a rough character. And I remember when I first got into police work, and I'm walking down the Sally Port, taking somebody into the jail cell. I hear a guy in jail in the Sally Port, and he says, Lane Mooney. And I looked over there, I'm about $135,
Right.
and this guy, him, he walked up to the cell door, and he stuck his hand out. He said, you're a cop? I said, yeah, sure am. He shook my hand, gave me a hug through the bars,
Wow.
and then went on about my business. He's still alive.
Yeah.
I see him every now and then.
Okay. Is he out?
No, he's back in.
Oh, my
He's
gosh.
been a career criminal, but super good guy. He just messed up on the stuff.
I see.
And if I wouldn't have changed, I'd have been right there with him.
Right there with him.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I had the same problem.
Yeah.
I remember we went out one time. You were kind enough to. I was writing the book. Remember?
I remember that.
And you let me drive with you one day, and it was one night. So we were talking about books and stuff, and you had pulled over on the highway, and we were. It's like you weren't even paying attention, but I guess you have a sixth sense at this point, And little old raggedy car went by, and zoom, man, we were right off on him, And I'm just like, okay, what's fixing to happen, right? So they pull over. It's two kids. They look like they're teenagers, You had them sit to the side, take their shoes off, I guess, so they couldn't run. And then you started sacking that car, man, and just pulling out the paraphernalia. It's like you smelled it, It's like you were a drug interdiction officer. Is that what they call that? And then the one that sticks in my mind, you pulled out was like a Coke can or something, and you held it up and you pulled the bottom off, and some stuff fell out, and you're just crumbling all up. And them kids I was see you over here, and I could watch them, and they were just, oh shit, And I said, what's he gonna do? Anyway, I seen you just kind of scold them and told them to get their butt. So they grabbed their shoes and got in their car. Man, they had to be breathing such a sigh of relief.
Well, don't you know?
Such a sigh. But you weren't even paying attention. I mean, how did you know? I've been meaning to ask you that since then. How did you know those kids, that car, whatever?
Well, it's like anything else. I mean, you're a master musician. I mean, you can hear a tone, you know, and say,
Yeah.
oh, he's out of
Yeah.
whack or
Right.
something, you know. But I mean, I've honed my skill.
Yeah.
Back then, I was on top of my game as far as an interdiction officer. And, you know, you sense these things, you know. You have a sixth sense for it. I know people think it's crazy, but, you know, that was my forte, was working drug
Really?
interdiction on the highway.
Right.
And I was very successful at it. And, you know, so, I mean, you just kind of develop that pattern.
I got you.
know.
You were telling me you had one of the biggest busts. It's a few years back. What was that like? Describe that.
So I had a friend of mine, it was on a Sunday evening, and it was about a $40 million lick. And so what I did is Sunday, it was raining all day long, and you know this guy too.
Uh-oh.
I won't put his name out there, but
I don't know if that's such a good thing that I know these guys in jail and these drugs.
no, he wasn't in jail. He's just a mutual
Okay,
friend. But,
okay.
But anyway, I told him, I said, hey, if the rain clears, you want to go get on the highway tonight? And he said, man, I'd love to, because he had never been. So
So he was another ride along.
He was another ride along. So I told him I'd get him out there one day. And I normally work Sunday through Thursday, because Sunday nights, that's when the dope loads are coming out of Houston, you know, from the Houston area on the eastern corridor, you know, headed east.
Right.
And so anyway, I'd get out there at 8, 9 o'clock at night and wait for the loads to start coming through. Their thought process was, it's not the gauntlet, it's Sunday, everybody's at home,
Right.
nobody's working.
Right.
Plus, with it raining, they're gearing up to hit,
Right,
you know,
I
take
see.
off. So, anyway, make a long story short, car rolls by. It's in a big expedition. Get him stopped.
You just sensed it? How did you know?
Well, his license plate light was out.
Oh,
It was
I
an
gotcha.
out-of-state plate.
I got you.
It looked weird.
Yeah.
You know, it was coming from a known source city.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to have a conversation with the guy. So anyway, he caught the curb, and I got out, walked up to the car, made a passenger approach. Good thing I did, because he was holding a 9mm high power down by his seat. And he was in a big captain's seat, had his jacket over it. Well, inside the jacket pocket was a 9mm high power. And as I'm talking to the guy, he's looking at me, and I could sense
Yeah.
the way he's looking at
Yeah.
me. He's really drove up at this
Right.
point. So I talked to him for a little bit. I country boyed him is what I call
Yeah,
it. You know, I
yeah.
put him at ease.
I see.
And so I told him, I said, look, man, I can barely hear you because of all this traffic. If you don't mind, can you step out and speak to me back here? I wanted to get him on my playing
Yeah,
ground.
right.
So I got him back there and got to talking to him. I mean, he was so nervous, his hands were shaking
Yeah.
bad. And when he spoke, his voice was cracking.
Yeah.
And so I asked him for his driver's license. He could hardly get it out of his pocket because
He's so
was
nervous.
Yeah, shaking so bad. So I get to the point and I tell him, I say, hey, look, buddy, I said, we work drug interdiction out here. And when you say drugs and you're looking at somebody and they're carrying drugs, they automatically lock up and their eyes get about that big around.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah.
He did that. So
Was it a white guy, a black guy?
he's a black guy. Real nice guy, educated guy, super nice guy. But he would have killed me. But anyway, so I'm going through my spiel with him, told him I work drug interdiction. I got that little key from him, you know. I watched his body language, listened to the way he was talking. And then I come out and I asked him, I said, man, you ain't toting a big old load in here, are you? And he looked around, he said, me? I said, yeah, you. And he said, no, I'm not toting nothing in there. I said, okay. I said, you mind if I search your car? Yeah, go ahead. So I had him sit, take his shoes off, and I have them take their shoes off just in case they do run. It's swamp out there on I-10.
Yeah.
So they hit the swamp, they're not going to go far
Right,
barefooted. So get in there, I get to looking in the car. There's 250 pounds of cocaine.
Good Lord.
Yeah. And so this saw come out from the border. Well, I didn't know it at the time, but he had a crash car that was with him to cover this load. And what happened, they stopped in Baytown. Well, the crash car, or dummy car, stopped to get gas. He stopped to get gas. Well, he jumped in his car first, took off. That's when I stopped him, but they were still waiting for this guy.
I see.
And their job is to crash into the police. At that time, this was a tactic they used
Wow.
to get you off the side of the road so the load could get through. Because, I mean, you're looking at $40 million worth of
Yeah.
dope.
Oh my gosh.
Long story short.
So they're supposed to crash into your car,
yes, crash into your car.
And
then
go like-
speed off.
and they go like, "Oh, I don't know what happened."
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah,
oh
or
my
they'll take a
gosh.
ride, you know.
Oh yeah, haul ass.
Yeah, they'll take off. So anyway, make a long story short, ended up arresting the guy, asked him if he wanted to cooperate. He said, sure. So we loaded him up on the airplane with the dope, and we flew him to the first load over in Arkansas.
First load.
Well, he had three different drops he was going to do.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So Arkansas was the first one. So we loaded up the dope, loaded him up, and we flew to Arkansas. We met with DEA over there, set up this plan, took them down, took their money from them,
Wow.
put them in jail. And then we flew to Tennessee, then to Chicago, and took them all the way down.
No way.
Now, he did get some leniency for doing that, but he still got 18 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That was a pretty big load.
Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, so that takes a lot of cooperation, a lot of people, and you got to go fast.
Yeah.
How are you able to make that happen? Well, I probably shouldn't ask that.
No, it's pretty simple. I mean, you have to network in our
Yeah.
line of work, you
Yeah.
know. So you build these relationships, and it's hard to get cops to work together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you're in this drug interdiction, I mean, the common goal is to get the bad guy off the street,
Right.
take it to where it's going, catch those bad guys, get them off the street, and it makes that town a little safer.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's you got to network.
Dang. So the dominoes fell
They fell that night.
because you had just a feeling. You know, you're paying attention. You're out there when you're not supposed to be,
Yeah.
when they weren't expecting you. So yeah, you zigged when they thought you were going to zag, and the dominoes fell.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. What would you say? What did you say the total was on that? The total sort of street
About
value?
250 pounds of cocaine. You know, and that come out of that Sinaloa
Yeah,
cartel.
yeah.
You know, that's after. So you had, oh man, what was it? El Chapo.
Yeah.
So he's still running around
Is he?
over there. Yeah, and not now. He's not, but
Yeah.
he was at that time.
Yeah.
So it was all coming out of that area.
I
there.
got you.
Yeah.
Holy moly. Well, now though, so you've had a paradigm shift, right? Now you're shifting to real estate. I mean, you know, that's a pretty big shift just to go from law enforcement. You've been doing that, what, 30 years? or
36
so?
years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now you're going to try something different. That's kind of gutsy.
Yeah. Well,
You
I'm
know?
going to be a real estate tycoon like you. You know. I mean, really, you know, you and your dad have done really well, you know, and,
Yep.
and
Yeah, we have.
yeah,
But it's a thankless job. It's dirty.
law enforcement,
Same
thankless.
thing. Oh, yeah. I didn't think of it. There you go.
Really, it's kind of the same,
Same
but different. You know? Yeah, that's
That
crazy.
makes sense. I didn't think of it like that. Man, I can't even imagine some of the cesspools you've had to wade into. You know, when you were constable, you know, and you come out and we do an eviction here and there. You know, you were always you know, fair, level-headed, and we try to help the people, even though they've destroyed the house. They hadn't paid in months and months, and you know, it's all my fault that they can't take care of their business. You know. And they come in and I've seen them go after you. You know, what do you know? You don't know. You know, thankless, dirty, but we got to do it. You got no choice. We've decided we slew that demon years ago that we were just gonna grin and bear it and deal with it.
Right.
Know? So
Well, and that's just nature of the beast.
Right.
You know,
It
you have
is.
to deal with that.
It is.
And you know, you've been doing it a long time.
long time. But you're actually going to be like a realtor selling houses. and-
Yeah, selling, listing
Commercial.
houses, selling, buying. You know, I'll be a buyer's agent.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I've already kind of got my hands in, trying to get ready for January. I'll be retiring in December.
Yeah.
So.
You'll be full time.
Full time, yeah, full time.
Full time. Well, I wish you the best of luck on
Thank
that.
you.
So, okay, can you boil it down? Can you give me like a 2 cent? This is hard to do. I challenge people. Can you give me a 1 sentence? Can you give me a 2 sentence? You said have a dream and go for it. You know, and that's pretty good. But man, you have such a depth of experience. I mean, you've seen so much. I know you have. you've seen the best, you've seen the absolute worst, so, what could you leave Orange County listeners, what could you leave with them to say, this is sort of the summary, this is what I see. How can Orange County improve based on what you see maybe some of the problems are? What could Orange County, I mean literally the whole county, Commissioners Court, the judges, the water districts, the city councils, what could we do as a group, as a community? What could we do better that would lift our community up out the mud, so to speak?
We talked about this earlier before we went live. If you look at our area here in Orange County, we're sitting in a pretty good place.
Yeah.
We do have crime in Orange County. Look at what we don't have in Orange County. Look at what's going on in Beaumont.
Oh my
Look
gosh.
what's going on in Port Arthur. It's starting to creep into Orange.
Is it?
Yes, but you look in our little piece of the pie over here, we're sitting pretty good. But
Knock
what
on
we
wood.
need is we need unity. The people need to pull together.
Unity, thank you.
And I'm going to tell you right now, this is the worst I've seen it as far as our community. People are just not supporting one another. And, we need to support our county commissioners, our leaders. A lot of people may not like their decisions, but I'm going to tell you right now, their heart is in it for our community to grow and prosper. And
You're talking about local government.
Local government, yes, our local government. And let me tell you, I worked hand in hand with them for the probably last 8 years because I was the constable prior to this.
Right.
And let me tell you, man, they are here because they love this community. They live here in this community. And they want the best for you just like they want the best for their family.
Right.
And I've worked with them many times on different situations and problems that have arisen.
Right.
And we've taken care of those. And I'm going to tell you what, they're hard, but they know what they're doing, and we have to support them. These guys are on the front line. They just brought in this big Chevron Phillips deal.
Right.
I mean, look at that. Our
That was
community,
a big deal.
man, we are booming right now
Yep.
because of that.
Yep.
And
And so who did that? How which group or outfit or governmental agency? Probably a lot of them.
It was a lot of people.
lot of them.
A lot of them. Let me tell you, all the commissioners are on board with it. The county judge he has just been I love the guy. I love all the commissioners. They are just, they love this community. They love their sheriff's office. Haven't had a lick of trouble with them since I've been over there. We get along great, and that's what we need. We need to make sure we assist these guys, we help these guys, and we support them because they're looking out for us.
Yeah.
They do a great job. I can't talk. They are just the best.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Look at what's going on here,
I mean,
and look at what's going on out there.
well, I mean, can you be more specific? I mean, when you say what we don't have, what kind of specifically are you talking
Well,
about?
and I hate to get into this kind of stuff, but you look at the murders.
Murders.
You look at the murders that are going on every day outside our county.
Exactly.
We're not getting that here.
Yeah.
We've gotten I think 3 since I've been here.
Really?
Yes, and I'm gonna tell you what, it's not like the other
Yeah.
counties and cities.
I got you.
So we're sitting pretty good. One murder's too many,
Yeah.
but man, not every day.
Yeah.
We don't have a shooting every day here.
Every
We don't
day.
have a stabbing here every day.
Right.
I mean, it's very seldom.
What do you think? I know what my brother always says. He says, you're in God's country right now. And I'm wondering.
We are in God's country. I'm telling you right now, Orange County, Texas you just can't, I can't see it being any better.
Really?
You look at what's not going on around
What's
here,
not going on?
and you look at what's going on around us.
everywhere else.
So, not to say we don't have crime.
Sure, it's not
You know,
perfect.
That's right. We have our issues, but, we're always going to have some issues somewhere down the road.
Indeed. Well, that's a good word. Support your local leadership.
Yeah,
That's
whether
really
it's
good.
your constable, your sheriff, city councilman, your mayors. Man, these people are out here looking out for their city.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I'm on the water board, and we're definitely laser focused on doing the best we can. Back in the 90s, the water district had some problems. They were in receivership and the TCQ, and everybody was crawling all over them. But now they're near perfect. They're a model district, and we've.
Well, it's because of people like you that are concerned, that want to help and make it right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate those kind words. No, the district's definitely come a long way from where they were some years ago. So, okay. I guess I really didn't think of it like that, but you're right. You're right. The leadership, always gets blamed for everything that goes bad, but they never get the credit when something goes good, So.
Well, it's the employees that should get the credit because they're out there getting it done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. You're right. Lane Mooney, ladies and gentlemen.
Kelly Brewer.
Huh? Kelly Brewer.
I got a little story.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, so I got a little story here. So Kelly come out and rode with me one night, and he's writing this book, right? He's got it. There's a picture
There
of
it
it
is.
over here.
First
There it is.
contact.
And
Oh,
I
yeah.
got your book. I wanted to
Did
bring
you?
it, get you to sign it.
Lane is in. One of my characters is a sheriff out in space, space sheriff, and I modeled him after Lane. So anyway.
Kelly come out, he rides with me, and he's taking notes, right? I mean, man, we're making traffic stops. And he's asking me all these questions, and so then I started asking him questions. Well, how do you go about starting to write a book? This, that, and the other, and so Kelly's feeding me this information, and let me tell you, this guy's got a lot of information. So anyway, so I started writing a book here, about a year and a half ago or so. So I'm banging away on it, but my inspiration came from this guy. And my character, part of his name is Kelly.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say his name right now, but my character is after this guy here. And so anyway, it's pretty cool. It's a cop flick, but
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and I think I let you read a little bit
You
of it.
did.
Yeah, that's the first. I went in and changed a little bit of it.
Did you?
but yeah.
Well, yeah, it evolves.
Yeah.
Probably wrote that one. I probably rewrote that one 50 times.
Oh, wow.
Over and over and over. Because this is where I cut my teeth. This is where I learned. I'm learning how to write. Still don't have it perfect, but I had to go over it and over it and over it. And every time I went, I just found a major flaw. So
how long did you have into that book, if you don't mind?
well, I probably started that 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, 5 years ago.
From the time you started to the time you had it.
Right. So I published it the first time. It wasn't that good. I redid it when I finally got when I got my trilogy finished. I went back again and had to redo it so it would all sort of mesh. And it's been a 5-year process.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah, a long time.
But hopefully I'm better now. I'm probably on book 6 now.
Sweet.
Now I haven't released. I've only released the 3. Well, the 3 will be done by the end of the year, and it's fun. I'm getting the cobwebs. I'm getting all of my frustrations, all of my stuff. I'm dumping it into these characters,
Yeah.
And it's therapeutic,
Oh, yeah.
right?
It
You're
is
probably
therapeutic.
finding that.
Yeah. I tell you what, so since I've been writing this book, you always told me just throw it out there.
Throw it.
And so I find myself, I'll get in there, say 8 o'clock at night, and I'll start banging away on this thing, Man, I'll look at the clock, it'll be 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm thinking, man, where'd the time go? But
You're so absorbed.
you get into it and
You
you
do.
start, role playing
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
stuff, and
That's cool.
it's crazy.
Well, man, I hope that book goes well for you.
Oh, well, I'm having fun with it, so.
At least, yeah. It may take you a little while, but and then once you send it to an editor, they'll destroy it,
Yeah.
right? And then you'll have to pick up the pieces and your ego and stuff, and you got to start over and put it back together, and then send it back, and they'll destroy it again. But that's what you want. You want the testing,
Right.
You want the testing. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Lane Mooney, I appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you, Kelly.
For taking
Appreciate
a minute out of your busy
Oh, man,
day.
anything for you. Man, your family, you got a great family.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Peace out.
Thank you.